Welcome back to Rob's Garage Woodworking. Today I'm just going to show you how I'm building some walls here. Some half walls to build, and I've already built a full floor to ceiling wall. So I'll show you how to build it basically, and just how I do it. Alright? Alright, so on your tape measure there is in inches. They talk about 16-inch on center, see 16. So from 0 to 16 they have a red mark on your tape measure, and then a red mark at 32, red mark at 48, which is 4 feet. All right. So that's your 16-inch increments, and it's already on your. So we're going to find two 8-foot pieces of 2x4 here, and we're going to measure those out in the 16-inch increments. So put that there. So your first increment is right at the end of the board. You'll put a board there, so I'm not even going to mark that. 16, I'm going to put an X where I want the stud to go. And then 32, X, 48, X, 64, 80. Now to make it really easy to see, I'm going to mark both of these. So I'm going to transfer that mark. I'm going to use a square. And then line it up. Mark all the way down. I'm going to do that for every one. So I'm going to transfer it, and also makes a nice long mark on the board. So if you're measuring your wall, basically you measure from your floor joist down to the floor, or vice versa. It's probably easier this way. You measure all the way up. Make sure you're basically 90 degrees. I measure it up, and we've got 88 3/4. So for a full-size wall like this, I would measure and get the shortest part of the wall. So this was 88 3/4, which I measured. So let's just say that's the shortest mark. Then I'd subtract 1/4 of an inch, and that way when you tilt your wall in place, you can attach it to the ceiling, and it won't get bound, it won't get stuck. All right, so that's very important. If you're gonna mount your wall to the ceiling, you're going to want to have a drywall edge. So say for example you get to a corner like this, right? You have to have a drywall edge so that your drywall can stick to it or get screwed to it. I'll show you right here. So the wall comes along here, and then that's your corner, and then you have your drywall has to come across here. So if there's no backer behind it, then it can't attach to anything. So up here there's a backer, it goes across. When I get to here, there's no backer. So I've got to add one in there. I've already added a backer board in here. Now it doesn't have to be all the way down. I've just used some scraps here. So, and then every time you've got a drywall edge that you're going to have to drywall to, you can't leave the drywall loose because it will flex. So if a piece of drywall came to here at the end, then it would flex in, and you could see that gap, or your tape would rip. So you don't want that. You want all your drywall edges right to the studs. So on the wall here, I'm going to put my wood up to the top here. I've got this insulated on the wall on the top. Then I've got a 2x2 in here. And when I put my wall up, I'm going to put a piece of wood across the top, like a shelf, that goes from the 2x2 to the top of the wall. So I want my wall to be right to the top of this pink insulation. So right here I have 48 basically. Alright, so the measurement here that we have is 48 1/8. So I'm going to subtract that eighth because there's a little bit of a variance in the floor. and then it is the two 2x4s together, okay, are 3 inches, so 1.5 inches each. So instead of 48, it's 47, 46, 45. So 45 inches are going to be my upright cuts. So what we're going to do is measure out 45 inches and mark them. And put an X on the waist side. Alright, so I put on our boards. So for these, I'm actually going to use 3-inch deck screws. Alright, so on the wall, this part is going to have to be tied into the cement wall and behind it for support. So I'm going to put a block in, so I'm going to pre-drill for the for the tap con. Right. And then I'm going to put the blocking in here. So So another thing I did was I bought this plastic sheet. It's for underneath your walls, so that it's just this black piece of plastic. It's about 1 foot wide, and that goes underneath your walls to protect them from condensation from the cement. So I've already installed that. I'm going to move the wall up now. See how we did. So we'll screw it into the existing wall. Alright. Make sure it's all the way back. So for the tap cons, we're going to pre-drill and drill a few holes in the wood only. So these are tap cons, they're concrete anchors. These are 2 1/4 inches that I'm using for the floor. I'm going to use some 3 1/4 for the walls. These are 3/16, and they look like this. They're blue, they have a hex head, and they come with their own concrete masonry bit, right? That comes with it. So we're going to drill that out. Make sure it's up against the wall all the way. I'm going to put them in with this hex driver. Just so it's snug. And now what we want to do is drill into the wall using the holes that were already there. Okay, just snug. And we'll do the next 2. Alright, and once again we need a backing board for the drywall along this wall. So I'm just going to take a 2x4 here. I'm just going to stick this in and then drill through here, and we'll be all set. There we have our backer board. So we're all set. The drywall will fit nicely here. It has support for the back so that the seam doesn't crack and open. Alright, so now if we look on the top here, you'll see we wanted this flush right along to here, and it's a little low. So I've got to put a cap on here. So what I'll do is I'll put some shims on here to raise it up. And over here it's perfect. And down at this end, there's a bit of a gap on this side. So what I'll do is I'll drive my screws down a little bit more. It starts about here. So the bad spot is right about here. It's the high spot. So what I'll do is I'll drive my screws down a little bit more, and then I'll use a power planer and I'll plane that off so that it's flush with that. And that way when I put my cap across, it won't be up and down like the previous owner's cap was. So here, this board here, I'm going to tie my next part of the wall into this. So basically what you want is every 16 inches there's a stud. And I'll show you drywall when I get to that. Alright, anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great time in the shop. I hope I've inspired you to do a little DIY yourself. It's not as hard as it looks. It's tricky at first. If you need help, check YouTube. There's lots of guys out here that do great work. Give them a shout, give them a thanks, a thumbs up whenever you see their stuff and you like it. And then, yeah, if you need some help, talk to a friend or whatever. Specific questions that you have for me, post them. I will try to answer all of them. It might take me a couple of days if I'm busy, but I'll try to get to everybody's question. Alright? Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great one.